Hi guys and girls, and welcome back to part 2 of my Mr Olympia analysis. So kicking off here with Chris Bumstead. Now Chris is a 25-year-old bodybuilder. He's one of the youngest IFBB pros on the planet, and he's also a Canadian bodybuilder. Chris has actually come runner-up 2 years in a row in this event, this one being the men's classic physique, and losing out to a man called Breon Ansley, who you will see shortly in the next part of this video. So there has been some controversy between these two, or should I say more likely linked to Breon's coach, Chris Cormier, who was hating on Chris Bumstead on Instagram, slating him, saying that the guy's arms and back are weak, he's not the best in the world, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, Chris Bumstead's coach hit back, and rightly so. I feel personally, I'm not biased at all. I haven't really followed this competition for this event up until the last 2 years. And, for that reason, I can't say I've got a favourite. So I was open to any athlete here. But looking at Chris's, record and how he's developed over the last, I'd say 3 to 5 years, and in particular the last 3 shows, he's improved significantly. His conditioning is amazing. He hits really good vacuums. His abs are very good. He's got huge legs. He's very aesthetic. Overall, his symmetry, his proportions, and his conditioning are on point, and that's what's expected from this competition. That's what the men's classic physique is for. It's a resurgence of what the 70s went for before they had the insulin and growth hormone and the big bubble gut look from the distended mix sections. If you look here, these photos here, I'm comparing him to Frank Zane. If you Google Frank Zane, you'll find out what I mean about aesthetics. This guy was aesthetic. Now, Chris is a big guy, in his off season, he gets up to 250 pounds, which is 113 kilos for my English fans. And when he competes, he gets down to 225 pounds, which is still over 100 kilos, it's about 102. And you have to bear in mind that Arnie was competing at 240 pounds, and he was slightly taller than Chris, because Chris is about 6 foot, about the same height as me. So he's a big guy, and if you're bringing in over 100 kilos of shredded muscle all over, you can see why you would potentially win, if not be in the top 3 of a show and competitions such as the men's classic physique at Olympia. So, I would say, the guy was fully deserving, and I really rate him. I'm really impressed with his stats, and I'm looking forward to see how he gets on in the future. Some people would tip him to be a future Mr Olympia in the Open, and if he got big enough, I don't see why he couldn't. So obviously this is Breon Ansley, as I mentioned. He came runner-up. Breon won the this classic physique division 2 years in a row. So obviously he pipped Chris to it. So he's obviously Chris's main rival. Now I think Breon has an amazing physique. He's really aesthetic as well, and he's got really good posing routines, and he has amazing genetics, and that's not a given. He definitely has a full package. But I think this year, just Chris just had something a bit more what they wanted. I don't think there's any politics involved or any type of fixing at all. At the end of the day, you can't even say it's a race thing, because Breon has already won 2 years in a row, and he's already had huge success elsewhere in other competitions and success in his life. So commiserations to him, and looking forward to how you get obviously to on the next year's. I'm sure you're going to bring a different package, but overall, all we can say is well done, Chris. You smashed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how you get on in next year's event and any others you might do. I think that you should definitely compete more, and you should look into other federations as well, even, So that's that, and let's wrap up and move on to the next guy. Now moving on to men's physique. Now don't be confused with men's classic physique we just discussed. Men's physique is a much smaller category. I know the guys still look pretty big to you, but in comparison to men's classic, which we just discussed with Chris Bumstead, they are in a significant different league in terms of size and general mass. Also, as you may have noticed, the guys are wearing board shorts, so it's not a requirement in this division to wear to have the small trunks. They don't need to show their quads, only their calves. Hence the board shorts. Now, the reason why I've covered this one is because I'm here. This guy Ryan Terry, just as we're seeing us now walking off, he came 5th, and I'm not biased. I know he's English, but I feel that year on year he's he's looked better and better in his physique, and for some reason the judges just don't want to give him any more credit. I don't know what it is they're looking for personally. I think he has one of the best midsections in the world for this division, and he's always been known for having amazing abs. Now, of course, it's not all about abs. There are many other factors. However, I feel, he's done so well. He's competed in Arnold Classic. He's a 4 times IFBB Pro champion. He's a British champion. He was once second place at this division, and for some reason, they're just not giving it to him. But who knows? But as I mentioned, obviously we had a very interesting year in terms of who was competing and who wasn't competing in all different divisions, and newcomers coming in and taking it. So from first to three, as you can see here. So in the middle, you've got Raymont. On the left of him, you've got Andre, and then also on the right of him, you've got Kieran. So there were your top 3 finishers. Number 4 was Brandon Henderson, and as I mentioned about Ryan Terry from England, he was 5th. So it was a good event. I liked it. I was impressed by it, their physiques, I'm not going to lie. But as I said, overall, I'm more of a fan of classic physique and also men's open. And men's open is obviously the huge guys, if you're not aware of what the men's open is. The 212 division is for guys who are just slightly lighter than the guys who are in men's open. So well done to all the guys who compete in this division. I'm sure Raymont's on cloud 9 and looking forward to seeing how you get on in the future. But Ryan, keep at it, mate. I'm really confident that you've got a shot at getting higher in the ranks as you have before, and you deserve it. So last but certainly not least is my man Roelly Winklaar. So unfortunately my predictions were wrong. He didn't make it to the top 3, and he was actually crowned 5th. Now I was really disappointed because leading up to the day of Mr Olympia, some of the videos he was posting of how he looked, his current physique, were unbelievable. As I said in the previous video, he was hulkish and he looked amazing. Now I've heard some people say he looked flat, and I think that's quite a stupid comment to make personally. He certainly wasn't flat. One thing I would say, perhaps he wasn't as grainy and as hard as you might expect, particularly in the back. I noticed that his back wasn't too dense personally. It looked a little bit watery. So if they're saying flat, perhaps that's why. But you can really see here still that he had an amazing condition. I mean, you can't argue the fact the guy's a monster and had great condition for his size. I mean, he competes at 135 kilos. That's huge. So off season being 145 kilos ish, so that's about 320 pounds. But obviously we had new guy come, Hardy Chupan. He was the newcomer. Hardy also won the people's vote, people's champion for what obviously Roelly won the previous year. So Roelly had a new guy to compete with there. And also, as we know, Sean Roden wasn't in it, Phil Heath wasn't in it, and also Big Ramy wasn't. Now that doesn't mean if those 3 were in there, Roelly wouldn't have been in the top 5. I still think he was deserving of the top 3 personally. Funny enough, Dexter Jackson was crowned 4th. Now, no discredit to Dexter, he deserved that as well. For a man who's almost 50 to get number 4 after all his years of training and his competitions, that's incredible. But sadly Roelly didn't get it today, and I know a lot of fans are disappointed, as was I, as I've mentioned. But I will say about his back here, I mean, his upper back looks very good overall. And him doing obviously his back post here, you can see the definition coming through a bit more, but I just think that other guys tipped him in other ways. As we know, Brandon took it. He was first and William was second. I don't think Will personally should have been second. A lot of people said Hardy should have been second, at least because he had better conditioning overall, and I definitely agree with that. Now that would have pushed William to third. Now the 4th and 5th, as we know, again, that's subjective. It's based on what the judges think. I still think that Roelly should have been slightly higher. He's not my favourite bodybuilder. Please don't think that I'm just saying that because I think he's my favourite and he should have won regardless how he looked. I think the guy has done so well in the last few years to in particular sort out his midsection, because he did unfortunately get that bubble gut, that distended gut that makes them look like they're pregnant. And if you see here, I mean, look at his abs. He's got really good control of them. They're very blocky, but not too large, and that, you know, they're well balanced. There's a little bit of bulging going on, as you can see, but it's not too significant. And, you know, he's good at posing. For a guy of his size, he's not too stiff. He's not too, you know, he's not too immobile. So I'm really disappointed for him, but, you know, don't give up, Roelly. He's still got a chance. You know, here he is competing to qualify for next year's, which he has. Just a few things about him, if you didn't know. His best ever competition was when he won Arnold's Sports Festival in Australia in 2018. His pro debut was in 2019, so he started there, and he's been doing Olympia for a couple of years. So good luck to you, Roelly. I hope next year you can bring something a bit different, and don't lose faith. Everyone's rooting for you, especially the fans. So that's a wrap for today's video, guys and girls. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, please remember to like it. Also, if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. I do really appreciate everyone following me and supporting me so far. Also, leave some comments in the box below. Let me know your thoughts on the video, and obviously what went down at these events. And if you haven't already, please do follow me on Instagram as well, at Omega1 Fitness. So until next time, guys, I'll see you soon, and Omega1 Fitness signing out.